My next guest says, don't blame supply and demand for these high oil prices. Blame the weak dollar and a Federal Reserve that's keeping it weak. Dave McAlvany joins me right now. You know, I had Dave on my Fox News show. We had such a great response to Dave. I had to steal him back, and he was kind enough to come back on Fox Business. David, good to have you back. Thank you.
Hey, great to be back, Neil.
Because I'm a dummy, could you just explain this, Dave, how this is the real phenomenon going on here?
Well, you've had really the last 10 years of a business cycle correction that has been in the process of unfolding, and the Fed has tried to smooth out this natural business cycle correction, and they've accommodated at every turn. We've had QE1, QE2, Operation Twist of late, but if you go back to the previous Fed chairman, we also had rates set extremely low between 2003 and 2005, which led to a misallocation of money, too much money going into housing, and what did we end up with in 2006 and 7? A housing bust, a bubble and then a bust. What we've had is intervention when we really needed just the markets to sort themselves out. And that's really what we have now, is a deflation in the offing, but with monetary policy measures which are inherently inflationary being thrown at it. So you end up seeing the evidence of that in various commodities. And I think, frankly, oil above $100 a barrel, a part of that is the activity of the Fed in the marketplace.
All right. Now, again, as you reminded me as well on Fox News, there are other factors. There's supply and demand. There's a fear of Iran going kablooey and all that. That I understand. But the fear with our not getting budgets or just reckless fiscal policy is we look like a joke to the world. Our dollar is cheapened. Anything dollar denominated is cheap, and it costs more of those cheaper dollars to buy things priced in dollars like oil, tangentially gas, and wham bam, we have expensive oil, expensive gas, right?
Yeah, and you have this fiscal nightmare in front of us. We've got the immediate debts of over $15 trillion. By Labor Day, it's estimated that that'll be close to $16.4 trillion, and we've got to keep rates low. So the Fed is doing everything that they can, spending money they don't have, creating it literally out of nothing to go monetize paper and make sure that the Treasury markets are healthy, that the mortgage-backed securities markets are healthy. I mean, Neil, last week, you saw the Fed. They monetized mortgage-backed securities to the tune of $23 billion. Where'd they get the money for that?
Exactly. By the way, that was a stealth, without sounding nerdy here, QE3, another quantitative easing on their part to come into the market, but no one reported it.
Yeah, and granted, it was an expansion of the balance sheet by about $21 billion.
Oh, but it was chump change, right? It was chump change in the scheme of things.
Well, and that's our fear, is that they're not dealing with chump change as they come into the 2013, 2014, 2015 timeframe. They're going to fight like mad to keep this thing alive, and there is going to be dire consequences the world over.
What would happen? Play that out for me.
Okay, so if you begin to print money here, there's over 50 countries around the world that are dollarized. So a little bit of inflation here is radical inflation elsewhere. And just like we had the Arab Spring, and literally this is a street vendor. It begins with a street vendor who's upset about the rise in the cost of sugar. You begin to see the same thing in Latin America. You begin to see the same thing throughout Asia. As a result of our monetary policies and the interconnectedness, dollar being world reserve currency, and all these dollarized countries, there's a huge inflationary impact. Listen, it's not as big a deal for us in the United States. We can pay 10, 15% more for a bag of groceries. 20, 30% more for a bag of groceries isn't going to kill us. But literally, it's the difference between being able to feed your family elsewhere. That's where it becomes very politically contentious.
That's the stuff of which revolutions are made. Dave, thank you very, very much.
Good to be with you now.
Same here. Let's steal you back.